We are talking with Steve from collegefootballwinning.com and SBR contributor John Ryan from johnryansports.com, continuing our College Bowl previews here on SBR TV. We are in the midst of covering the 5 BCS Bowls with John and Steve, and now we're going to take a look at the Fiesta Bowl, which is Stanford and Oklahoma State. Now, Oklahoma State, of course, is disappointed that they didn't get to an invitation to go to the championship game, but I'm just looking at this, and I'm kind of leaning towards the over. I see, a very athletic Oklahoma State team with a big passing game, and that sort of plays into Stanford's weakness. Stanford has a strong running game, strong offense in general. Steve, how do you see these lines?
I'm not so sure about that total.
Mm-hmm.
Stanford, their entire offense is predicated on the power run, believe it or not, despite all the attention that Andrew Luck gets as an outstanding quarterback, which he is. They know that their job is to keep Oklahoma State's offense off the field. So they're going to be leaning on a healthy offensive line since they've had time to rest. They're getting Zach Ertz back. That was one of the tight ends in their 3 tight end system that they had missed down the stretch. So I'm not so sure about that total. On the side, however, Oklahoma State, very surprisingly, if you look at Stanford's weakness, it's in pass defense. So that should play into Oklahoma State's hands perfectly.
Right.
But not so fast when it comes to against the spread. And Oklahoma State's 4 best passing games this year, they were just 1-3 against the spread. So Oklahoma State can pass against you, and you can still beat them against the spread. So look at Oklahoma State. They held half of their opponents under 4.4 yards per rush. But examine that further, and you see that opponents that have top 40 rushing offenses, they played 7 of them, Oklahoma State did. Stanford is ranked 20, so they're definitely a top 40 team. Of those 7 top 40 rushing offenses, they allowed 6 of those 7 teams to average better than 4.4 yards per rush. That is not good news against the spread for Oklahoma State. It's good news against the spread for Stanford. However, despite all of that, based on our power ratings here at collegefootballwinning.com, we actually think the number should be a little higher than it is. We like to wait to get Stanford at 5 or plus 5 or 6 would be even better. But if not, if we can't get them at least plus 5, we're going to stay away from this game.
All right. Well, that's a great analysis. You've definitely talked me off of loving the over here. John Ryan from johnryansports.com. How do you see these lines?
I think they're fairly priced, but again, this is one of those games where you have 2 outstanding offenses. You have a very weak defense in Oklahoma State. My simulator shows a pretty high probability that Oregon's going to get 35 to 41 points. Now, that's a pretty narrow range, but again, it shows some conclusive results that work against Stanford. And we were talking about the running game, too. My simulator shows that they're going to rush for 5.5 or more yards per attempt. The Stanford Cardinal will. And as Steve mentioned, that's critical to their offensive scheme. That opens up play-action pass. So in games where they have rushed for 5.5 or more yards per attempt, they're 4-0 this year, 10-3 the last 3 years, and 16-6 since 1992.
Okay. All right.